Back in 2017, astronomers in Hawaii, using the Pan-STARRS telescope, spotted something extraordinary. It was the very first confirmed visitor from another star system. They called it Oumuamua, a Hawaiian word meaning a messenger from afar arriving first. At first glance, it looked like a cosmic rock, elongated, tumbling, about the size of a football field. But unlike anything we'd ever seen, it moved in ways that defied our expectations. No comet-like tail, no cloud of gas, and yet it accelerated as if something was pushing it. Scientists scrambled for answers. Some argued it was just an unusually shaped interstellar comet. Others whispered a more dramatic possibility. Could this be an artificial probe sent by a civilization far older and more advanced than ours? The debate was fierce. Papers were written, conferences held, and headlines lit up with theories. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, Oumuamua was gone. It slipped back into the darkness of interstellar space, leaving us with more questions than answers. For years, the mystery faded into the background. But now, it's back. Reports began circulating that objects eerily similar to Oumuamua were appearing again. Not just one, but many. Some moving in strange coordination, as if following an unseen command. Others reflecting light in ways no natural rock ever could. Is this science fiction bleeding into reality? Or are we finally witnessing contact? Not through radio signals or flashing lights, but through silent visitors crossing the gulf between stars? Tonight, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating cosmic mysteries of our time. We'll explore what we know about Oumuamua, what scientists suspect, and what could happen if those whispers of artificial origin turn out to be true. Stay with me until the end, because this story doesn't just challenge our understanding of the universe, it challenges our place within it. The first encounter, 2017. When astronomers first noticed Oumuamua, it didn't look like much. Just a tiny streak of light moving against the background of stars. But as calculations came in, jaws began to drop. This object was moving far too fast to be bound to the sun. It wasn't orbiting like a normal asteroid or comet. Instead, it was passing through our solar system, cutting across on a one-way journey. This meant one thing: it came from beyond, an interstellar traveler. The first we had ever seen with our own eyes. Think about that for a second. For centuries, humanity has looked up at the stars wondering if anything ever came from there to here. And in October 2017, the answer was suddenly yes. Oumuamua itself was unlike anything in our textbooks. Instead of being round or potato-shaped, it looked long, thin, like a giant cosmic cigar. Some estimates said it could be 10 times longer than it was wide, making it the most elongated space object ever observed. It didn't shine brightly like a comet with a gas tail. Instead, its surface reflected a reddish hue, as if it had been baked for millions of years by harsh cosmic rays. But the strangest part? Its motion. As it swung around the sun and headed back outward, Oumuamua accelerated ever so slightly. A tiny push, like an invisible hand, was nudging it. Normally, comets do this when gases explode out like rockets. But Oumuamua had no visible tail, no coma, no plume, just silence. This tiny, unexplained acceleration shook the scientific community. Nobel laureates debated, astronomers scratched their heads, theories piled up. Could it be a hydrogen iceberg, slowly evaporating in ways we couldn't detect? Could it be made of exotic material, different from anything in our solar system? Or, the boldest theory of them all, could it be a light sail, a thin, flat structure designed to catch starlight, sent intentionally by an alien civilization? That last idea didn't come from conspiracy theorists. It came from respected scientists like Avi Loeb, the chair of Harvard's astronomy department. He argued that natural explanations just didn't fully fit. If something looks like technology, he said, maybe it is technology. Most scientists disagreed, leaning toward a natural explanation. But still, the seed of doubt had been planted. Oumuamua became a mirror, reflecting not just sunlight, but our deepest hopes and fears. Were we looking at a rock, or were we looking at evidence that we are not alone? And just as the debate caught fire, the messenger vanished. Within weeks, it had traveled too far for our telescopes to track. Like a visitor who knocked on our door, said nothing, and disappeared into the night. We were left with silence, and a mystery that refused to die. The return of the messenger. For years after 2017, Oumuamua became a story of what might have been. A cosmic riddle drifting further and further into the blackness. Most people moved on. Scientists shifted their focus to the next mission, the next star, the next dataset. But in the silence of the years that followed, a strange pattern began to emerge. In classified reports, whispered conversations, and rare telescope observations, astronomers noticed objects that didn't quite add up. Tiny points of light moving not like asteroids, not like comets, but in ways eerily reminiscent of that first interstellar visitor. At first, it seemed like a coincidence. After all, space is vast. Things are always moving. But then came the shocking part. These new objects weren't alone. They were appearing in groups. Some streaked across the sky at matching speeds. Others shifted direction at the same moment, as if following an invisible command. Their trajectories weren't random. They looked coordinated. Whispers turned into headlines. Oumuamua returns with companions. Alien probes or cosmic flukes. Even famed astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson was asked about it in interviews. His response was cautious, even humorous, but he admitted, "If nature repeats something once, we expect it to repeat again." Could interstellar visitors be more common than we thought? And if so, why were these new ones behaving so strangely? Some astronomers suggested a frightening possibility. What if Oumuamua wasn't a lone traveler at all, but a scout? In science fiction, the first probe is never the last. The first is a messenger. The ones that follow are part of a mission. And here's where things turn even stranger. Reports claimed that under high-powered spectrographs, at least one of the new objects reflected light in a way no natural rock should. Instead of scattering sunlight, it bent and shimmered, as if coated in a material engineered, almost like a metamaterial, the kind of advanced substance we humans are only just beginning to experiment with. If that's true, then these visitors are not random chunks of rock. They're something far more deliberate. But deliberate by whom? If they are artificial, there are only two options. One, they were built by a civilization long gone, abandoned machines drifting between stars. Or two, they're active, functional, watching. Neither answer is comforting. Imagine standing on a lonely shore and finding a message in a bottle. Except in this case, the bottle is the size of a skyscraper, made of materials you don't understand, moving in ways you can't explain. We are no longer asking, what was Oumuamua? Now the question is, what do they want? When unusual lights appear in the sky, scientists argue, but when they persist, governments listen. Behind the scenes, defense agencies began tracking these mysterious visitors. Radar stations, deep space monitoring networks, even military satellites were redirected to watch. On the surface, officials downplayed the events, but privately, urgency was building. One leaked memo described the movements of a particular object that had entered our solar system in 2024. It wasn't massive, maybe a few hundred meters across, but the report noted something chilling. Its velocity had changed in a way that suggested control. Natural objects don't do that. Was it a coincidence, instrument error, or was something or someone guiding it? For decades, the idea of extraterrestrial technology was tucked away in the corners of science fiction. Now, whispers suggested it might be playing out in real time, right above our heads. And yet, instead of rushing to announce it, the world's powers fell into silence. Why? Some believe it was fear of admitting we aren't in control, that forces greater than us are moving through our neighborhood of space. Others think it was strategy. If these visitors carried technology beyond our understanding, then whichever nation cracked the code first would leap centuries ahead in power. But here's the haunting part. Imagine if multiple governments are watching the same objects, each one assuming the others are also investigating. Suddenly, secrecy becomes survival. Nobody wants to admit what they know, or what they don't. Meanwhile, the sky keeps moving. Civilian astronomers who spotted these anomalies often found their data quietly discredited or buried beneath layers of explanation. A blurred comet here, a faint asteroid there, nothing to see. Move along. And yet, in rare moments, truth slips through the cracks. Amateur stargazers reported odd formations, objects flying in parallel, perfectly spaced, like beads on a string. One astronomer described watching two lights change direction at once, synchronized as if choreographed. He swore it was no satellite. These accounts never reached the front pages, but they fueled online forums, podcasts, and late-night theories. Are we being observed? Are these machines scouts mapping Earth the way we send probes to Mars? Or are they waiting? The scariest question is not whether we're alone, it's what happens if we're not. And the ones who arrive don't announce themselves. Think about it. When we send probes to other planets, we don't knock politely. We orbit, we scan, we collect. What if that's exactly what's happening to us right now, and we're just beginning to notice? In the halls of power, these scenarios aren't dismissed as easily as they once were. Quietly, task forces form. Meetings happen in locked rooms. Budgets shift toward aerospace anomalies and unidentified phenomena. Officially, it's all research. Unofficially, it looks a lot like preparation. Because if these objects truly are the beginning of something larger, if Oumuamua was the scout and these are the advance team, then the world's greatest question is no longer what are they? When will they make their next move? Whispers of contact. For months, the world stayed in the dark. The public knew little. Headlines came and went, buried under politics, sports, and endless noise. But the skies don't wait for news cycles. One night, observatories in Chile picked up something extraordinary. Not just another fast-moving dot of light, but a signal. It wasn't a radio beacon, not a broadcast. Instead, it was a faint pulse of reflected sunlight, repeating in precise intervals, almost like Morse code written in the language of starlight. At first, astronomers thought it was a coincidence, sunlight glinting off a rotating surface. But the rhythm didn't match natural tumbling. It was steady, intentional, a pattern. And here's the part that sends chills down the spine. The pulse sequence corresponded almost perfectly with prime numbers. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, the universal language of mathematics. If this is true, it means the objects weren't just drifting. They were speaking. Governments predictably denied it. Statements were vague, words carefully chosen. No evidence of extraterrestrial origin has been confirmed, but denial only fueled speculation. If it wasn't real, why avoid the question? Meanwhile, behind closed doors, imagine the dilemma. Do you answer? Do you try to respond with our own signal, knowing it could reveal exactly where we are? Or do you stay silent, hoping the visitors lose interest and drift away? Humanity has always dreamed of first contact, but rarely have we asked, are we ready for it? For centuries, we looked to the stars for inspiration, for wonder. Now, the stars may be looking back. And the truth is, we don't know what they see when they look at us. Are we a species worth meeting, worth trusting, worth saving? Or are we just another planet on their endless survey, no more remarkable than dust in the void? Science fiction stories often imagine alien arrival as dramatic. Ships hovering over cities, lights cutting through clouds, an announcement broadcast worldwide. But what if it's nothing like that? What if the first real contact is quiet, subtle, patient? A handful of machines drifting through space, observing, measuring, reporting back to someone or something far away. If that's the case, then we may already be living in the age of first contact without even realizing it. But here's the twist. Maybe these objects aren't here to harm us. Maybe they're not here for conquest or destruction. Maybe they're simply doing what we ourselves have done, sending scouts, asking questions, seeking out neighbors in the vast silence. Because isn't that what humans have always done? From the first explorers who crossed oceans, to the probes we've sent to Mars, to Voyager carrying its golden record beyond the edge of our solar system. We too have been messengers. We too have knocked on the doors of worlds unknown. Oumuamua may have been their golden record, A message in a bottle, crossing the stars. And if that's true, then we're not alone. We never were. The real question is, what happens next? Do we answer the call? Do we prepare for the unknown? Or do we close our eyes, pretending the sky is still empty? One thing is certain, the universe is no longer just a backdrop to our story. It's alive, it's watching, and it may already be reaching out. And when future generations look back, they may say this was the moment. Not 1969, not the moon landing, but this. The moment humanity first realized it was part of a much larger conversation. The night sky has always been a mystery, but now, it might also be a mirror. So, I leave you with one haunting thought. If Oumuamua was the messenger, then what message are we sending back?